So, my name is Matthew Persico, if you didn't see from the first slide. The command git commit dash dash pull request. You can't do that, can you? Maybe. So I've got a file in my file here, dot files profile. I had to pull the Perl mopping file out of it because I went and put an error into it. So I also use Emacs's facilities to edit the change log to keep track of what I do as I do it. So that first line there is going to be the commit message. So I'm going to run commit my file. Dash dash SCL means go use the source control log as a commit message. And PR means push the thing and create a PR for me. And as you can see from insert sad trombone, that doesn't work because git commit doesn't have those commands. So I have a script called git-commit. It's got a couple options. One of them is SCL. So if I say SCL, it's going to process my file. And if I do a PR, I'm going to do a push and set the PR options. You can see here, if I've got this opt-SCL, I call this function. This function rips out the message, puts in a file, does the commit. If that fails, it rolls everything back. If I don't have that option, then I basically just call a commit with whatever options I gave it. If the commit succeeds and I'm doing a push, then I have my own git push command. And the git push command is real simple. It just calls git with a push. And then if I've got these PR options, it calls yet another one of my wrappers, git PR. And that's a little more complicated. It goes through a couple machinations to figure out what the URL would be to shove into a browser, to pop it up to create a pull request, because I did this before there was a GH. So I'm going to try it again. And this time we get committing about to commit, runs my git hook, checks stuff out, waiting for me to edit my message, which gets popped up in an Emacs buffer where I edit it and I save it. Then you move along, the commit finishes, the push finishes, and then it pops up the pull request in the browser, which is already interesting. But if you know anything about Git, if you've got a command foo and you create git-foo and put it on your path, Git will find it and run it for you. But if you try and do that trick with git-commit, Git won't do that dispatch for the commands that it knows about. So the question is, how did it work the second time when it didn't work the first time? And the answer is I lied. The first time I called git program. Second time I called something else. And something else was my wrapper. I wrote a wrapper for Git. So the basic part here, I take the command that came off the command line, I create git dash the command, I check to see if it's a function, I check to see if it's a command, and if it's a function or a command, I do some stuff with checking the dispatcher. Sometimes when I was working this out, I needed to see that it got dispatched. And then I basically call my script. So I'm doing the dispatch. If it's not one of my functions, then I just pass it through to real Git and let Git deal with it. So the only other question is, why is Git a function, not a script? Well, I organize my work in this kind of repo structure. And normally you switch between branches if you're working in a repo, but I put everything on the work trees. So I don't have to worry about Git switching. Now you just CD. But keeping track of all those directories is difficult. So I change directories. That Git function has a series of functions it knows about. These are going to change directory. I keep a copy of what directory I was in. And after I'm done with a git command, I check and see if I have to go back to where I started or go back someplace new. So git go /GitHub. All of my work trees filtered by GitHub. I want to work on that one. I press 1 and boom. I get changed to where I am. If anybody wants to see all of this, it's here in that directory. Let's see. It's big, so I don't think you can just adapt it all, but use it for ideas, if anything else. And just one caveat, if you're wrapping the existing git command, you can't use getopt because then you're responsible for all the options. You basically write your own loop, pick off the ones you want, pass along the ones you don't want, and you just pass those into the command when you call them. And that's all I have.